everybody, Jason here from Ghostbusters News, and today I'm going to continue my build of a 3D printed Ghostbusters Firehouse. And this is going to be the second video in an ongoing build series. If you missed the first part, we do have a link to it down below in the description. As well as a heads up, pretty much all the files we are going to be using, they were made by fellow Ghostbusters fan Nathan Miller, otherwise known as Ghostbusters Gear, and you can get these files from his Patreon page. And on top of the Ghostbusters Firehouse, he's got tons of other STLs, some of which we've already featured here on the channel, including this Real Ghostbusters Proton Pack that I managed to build last Halloween. So in that last video, which was posted back in January, sorry for the delay here, I built the exterior, which of course laid the groundwork for the interior. And that's what we're going to be doing here today, and I've already started things off by printing the first floor in a brown PLA that I feel kind of matches the overall tone and style of that OG Kenner Firehouse. Something else I went ahead and added is the front doors, and I really debated on if I wanted these to be red or black, but given that I chose the red brickwork for the exterior, I feel like it kind of creates a nice contrast. The doors, of course, they do open. As well, for a bit of an added bonus, take a look under the first floor. A build within a build, here is this small little track which allows to give extra clearance for the Ecto-1's roof rack if needed. Similar to the base of the Firehouse, as we showed you in that last video, the flooring here, it is built the exact same way, made up of small prints getting glued together. And given that 3D printing, sometimes it can be a little temperamental from piece to piece. To give these top layers like the floors a uniform look, I hit everything with a very thin layer of matte clear coat. Let's go ahead and touch on some accent pieces which you've likely already noticed. This includes some railing, both right here for the soon-to-be added fire pole, as well up here on the top floor. I almost printed this piece actually in white to kind of serve as a callback to the railings that are in the Kenner Firehouse playset, but instead I chose black. However, I'm thinking I may actually go back and swap this out with either a gold or maybe a brass. Each of the floors, they attach directly into these supports, and given that we've already got everything set up here, let's go ahead and add the roof. And the roof, like the base, it has been made to pay homage again here to that Kenner playset. There's similar details here, like the little walkway, and oh, I can't believe I haven't mentioned this yet, but there is a slime grate. And yes, I've tried it, and yes, I've already stained the carpets here in the collection room. Likely one of my favorite pieces of this build is right here. It is the helipad. And I love right now that we're finally getting into some of the added play features of this build. In fact, with the Ecto-2 in place, let's add a few more things, including this ladder here, which does lead up to the roof. And once on top of the roof, you'll see that I've added this hatch that does function easily being opened. After that, you've got to try this pole, because what is a Ghostbusters Firehouse without a fire pole? This detail here, it was not 3D printed. Instead, it's just a brass rod I picked up at my local hardware store and cut to size. And funny story, I did get some weird looks while I was there, as I did bring an action figure with me just to ensure that the rod, it would fit inside the toy's hands. So here it is. We got the floors installed, the roof, a few added details including the fire pole, but this does not mean the build it is done yet, because we need even more added play features. And this one right here, another one of my favorites. So simple, so effective. It is the Ghostbusters lockers. Again, another file available from Ghostbusters Gear, and it looks great on the ground floor of the Firehouse. And similar to everything else that's been printed with doors, it totally does function, allowing you to stock up the inside with proton packs and ghost traps. After that, I didn't build it, I just bought it. But regardless, let's go ahead and get an Ectomobile in here. I'm using the recently released Frozen Empire popcorn bucket, as size-wise, I think it looks the part. Especially when you open up those front doors and you have the Cadillac's front end hanging out on display. Also wound up printing these arcade cabinets, a detail that is seen in the Ghostbusters films, and I may wind up painting these or at least printing some custom decals out, but yeah, these are not finished yet. Also, another quick, easy, and highly effective print here is this gear bench, which is made to hold some of those classic Kenner accessories, namely from the Real Ghostbusters Fright Features toy line. From there, another mini build. Well, it's not really a mini build. I mean, this is a pretty good size. One of my favorite add-ons, the much-needed staircase. Because obviously, I mean, the fire pole, it only goes one way, so of course, the firehouse, it needs some stairs. And everything here, it looks great, and the build of it is rather ingenious. Especially given that it just grips to each of the floors, meaning you don't have to glue anything in place, making it removable when needed. And I know I've said play features a lot in this video, but I really feel like these stairs, they add to the overall fun of this build, being able to create and manifest some classic scenes from the movies and new paranormal encounters. Let's go ahead and shift our focus now to the top floor, as I've also added this Ghostbusters Frozen Empire lab playset. Now the files to make this, these were not made by Ghostbusters Gear, but instead from Tristan Miller over on Colts3D.com. It was a rather easy, quick one-day build, and I think it already looks great in the firehouse. And I also really like the fact that you can open up the front end just like it opens in Frozen Empire. So initially, I planned for this to be the end of this video, and then I realized that Ghostbusters Gear released a few more files, and one of which I could not wait to print, and that is this one of the Ecto Containment Unit. And you want to talk about something that's much needed. I mean, if a Ghostbusters firehouse needs a fire pole, it also needs an Ecto Containment Unit. And the build here, it's great. It connects directly into that ground floor, adding further support to the staircase, and honestly, it kind of feels like its very own separate playset. Of course, the containment unit, it can be opened, allowing you to stick a ghost trap inside, reenacting the light is green, trap is clean scene. And similar to what can be seen in Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, behind the containment unit's wall is a massive red tank that holds all the ghosts. Like, it actually holds ghosts, as in ghost action figures. And this feature, it works great with Hasbro's recent Fright Feature pack-ins and Retro Kenner Companion and Ectoplasm Ghosts. Oh yeah, and for those out there that enjoyed Ghostbusters Frozen Empire and you decide to build this firehouse, you can unleash the Death Chill. And from a display standpoint, I absolutely love the way these look. You've got large shards appearing to tear through the sidewalk to icicles hanging down next to the no ghost sign. Again, I'm going to hammer it home, so much of this build, it is simple yet effective prints. At this point, let's have some fun. Let's bring in some more action figures, some ghouls, specters, and fill this thing up, creating a scene as if it came out of a 1980s toy commercial or a display at Toy Fair. And I'll say it right here, this is hands down my favorite 3D print project to date, and hopefully you're enjoying this look at this massive build as much as I've enjoyed printing and constructing it piece by piece. And just to be clear, this build, it is not done yet. A part 3 is going to be on the way, because from what I hear, the next add-on to this firehouse, it is so big, it's going to require its own separate video. Again, if you'd like to start your very own Ghostbusters Firehouse build, these files, they're available from Nathan Miller, aka Ghostbusters Gear's Patreon page, and we got that link down below in the description. With that said, that's all I've got for you for this one. As always, subscribe. If you'd like to join up with Ghostbusters News, check out our Patreon page. A link to that is also down below, and we'll see you right back here next time.
Your spine, your senses don't deceive you. Call up the guys who are ready to believe you. The number's 555-2368. But before you call, let's get something